If you're a business owner and you've got a letter of intent and it has a financing agreement in it, what is that and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Sylvan, coming to you live for consulting secrets from Sacramento, California. And a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. All right, you may have gotten, if you're a business owner or entrepreneur and you've got a letter of intent contract coming from a buyer and it's got a financing agreement in it, what is that and why does it matter? This is a fantastic question. I'm Scott Sylvan, coming to you live from Consulting Secrets on a perfect day to talk about sales and business and a fantastic day to talk about you. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. You may find a buyer for your company and they're like, hey, we want to buy your company. And they give you the formal introduction, which is kind of like the engagement letter of like, hey, here's what we want to do. But one of the clauses inside of the agreement is a financing agreement, which this is what it's going to say. We want to buy your UCO for $10 million if we can find the financing, right? And so sometimes people will come out and say it. So most of the time, what people will do is they will go to a fund and they will put this fund out for syndication. And they'll say, hey, if we can find companies that are doing profit margins of 10 or 15% and we can get you a return on your investment, will you invest in the fund? And so then they go find people who have 100,000, 500,000, $1 million, and they put this fund together. Well, that's a syndication of money. And so what they'll say is subject to us finding a bank, an insurance company, a private fund, a rich uncle, we will buy your company, which is a signal to you that they may or may not have the money, okay? So in your terms, it may say that your period is 60 days or 90 days. And what they're saying is they're signaling to you and saying, we are going to buy your company, and in 60 days, we will come up with X amount of cash. We intend to buy your company with cash. We intend to buy your company with debt. We intend to buy your company with equity, right? There's different ways that you can make this purchase that's called the deal stack, right? Your deal stack is going to depend upon what's going to be done inside. But be aware, sometimes there's a financing agreement, and if they don't meet that money, then they break up. Remember, an LOI is a fancy word for negotiation. Here's the thing. If you're looking to sell your business in the next 0 to 36 months and you need some help on the exit, you should reach out to the Deal Hotline, 888-DEAL-919, 888-DEAL, 888-DEAL-919. If you're doing at least $2 million a year revenue with a 10% profit margin. No deal is too big, okay? So here's what happens. I come to you with Scottco and I want to buy UCO. And I have one of these finance agreement letters, agreements in the letter of intent. One way to deal with it is, hey, we will break off if we can't get this financed. The other thing may be is it might be a mix. It may be in the finance agreement, it says, we intend to give you $5 million and then we're going to take payments on the other 5. We could do seller finance or seller carry. It just really depends. So depending upon who you talk to, depending upon what person you have a conversation with, they may say the financing agreement is one of two things. One, we intend to go to the open market and get money, or two, in the financing agreement, here's how we're going to pay for UCO. And it's really important for you to know this because you may have two competing offers. You may have an offer for $10 million for UCO, and you're like, okay, 100% of that's cash, and there's going to be a 10% holdback, so they're going to hold on to $100,000, or they're just going to give you one lump sum at the very beginning, which is $8.5 million. So you got to make the decision. If they're going to give you all cash, great. If they're going to sell or finance part of it, you just got to take some time to sit down and figure out what is the real math behind this. Now, remember, a letter of intent is a fancy word for negotiation. It's a fancy way of saying, we're probably going to come back and offer you less money than what we started with. We're going to start up here, and we're probably going to keep it in a range of 5 to 10%. Or some instances, sometimes a company, they'll open up the books and they're like, no, the financials are a mess, the books are a mess, and somehow we were off. Just be aware that the financing agreement may change. They may come back and the final agreement, the final draft, saying we had a financing agreement in place, but we want to offer you cash. Just be aware that sometimes what starts here goes here. Sometimes what starts here turns out into a mix of financing, into a mix of cash. Just remember, it's a proposition in the beginning. Here's what we think that we could do based upon the preliminary information that you gave us. You got 1 of 3 things to do from here. Just 1 of 3. Find the subscribe button, click on it, and every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow. 3, You know what you got to do. Share this video with a friend. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.